It is officially January 24th, 2025, and I don't believe there's ever been in the history of social media time that we've had so many updates in just such a short window. So I'm going to talk about the 7 massive updates that have occurred with Instagram specifically. We're going to talk a little bit about the TikTok ban and perhaps what's really going on behind the scenes and how to pivot with your content strategy moving forward. So let's dive into it. I'm going to first say, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I will show y'all. I'm going to share my screen. This post that I made would be important for you guys to share with business partners that you love and adore, that you really want to help them grow their business. Anyone essentially that you know that is looking to stay up to date with the social media trends. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to go to plugandplay_SM. And do you see that little bell notification? Some of you didn't realize you can turn this on. So if your favorites feed is full, and if you don't know what favorites feeds are, that will be another video at another time. But you can, for anyone that you're following, if you want to stay up to date and be notified anytime that there's a post, if they post on a story, reels, broadcast channels, or live, you just turn these toggles on. And then you'll be notified as soon as a new post goes out. So pause, go to plugandplay_SM, make sure you're following me, and turn on your notifications. If you want to add someone, which I do think are highest priority referral partners, maybe clients that you deem as like 5-star or influencers that you want to stay top of mind with, then remember, if you tap on the following button here in the middle, I can change this to either close friends, which is a strategy. It's not one that I'm discussing when I talk about favorites feed. I would either remove or add people to favorites. This is how you do that, essentially, is you would just click on following. And then if this star wasn't highlighted, so now I can click add to favorites. And you can only have 50 favorites on Instagram. But the beauty of this is when I go to the gram, you see at the very top left-hand corner where it says Instagram, that logo, most don't realize you just tap this and look, you can now change your feed view to just favorites. So when I'm being intentional with who do I want to show love to, like who am I trying to stay top of mind with, who could I make genuine comments to, or maybe DM, I can do that strictly by changing my view. This is how you protect your time. So that's favorites. But my main point was I wanted to show you how to turn on your post notifications, because I've already posted a lot about this with the Instagram updates. And I want to make sure that you guys are following along and sharing this post with either on your own stories, again, via an email for your value bomb emails, or simply to the people you care about who may want to also know this. So let's dive into the changes. This really occurred, a lot of these, and some didn't even realize these changes because of the distraction of the TikTok ban, but we're talking from January 17th to January 20th. That weekend is when a lot of these changes occurred. Now, anytime there's a mass update, not all accounts and all users in every area get access to the updates at the same time. Now, sometimes some of these updates are in beta, and so you may never get access to it. While others, it's just a slow, there's no like rhyme or reason as to why. But if you don't see these yet, know that they are coming. So the first one was Mark Zuckerberg had gone online and he announced that essentially they're going to be less strict with the content that their fact checkers are, which was a third-party service that would basically screen what we saw. And they realized that their fact checkers were incorrect. They also would not promote anything that was considered political. And instead, what they are moving towards, since they did see so many inaccuracies or reports of people getting kind of like a slap on the wrist, they've gone to what's called community notes, where they are relying on the community, their users, to accurately report things that they feel are inappropriate or harmful, and no longer relying on this third-party service. Kind of interesting how they can't seem to figure this out, but yet everything else that they can. Anyways, that's number one. Number two is the friends feed. So not to be confused with your favorites feed, but your friends feed is what I would consider if you go to the Reels tab on, I'll go ahead and share my screen again. So now when you go to the Reels tab, you'll see at the top right, there are 3 friends that will be listed. If you tap on the top right, it will now show you reels that your friends have liked or commented on. So Briley, my daughter, is one that has liked this. What they want you to do is to have shared experiences where you're sharing more together. You're connecting. So I could tap on my daughter's icon with the little heart and I could write her a message and it's going to go to her DMs. So again, it's part of that shared experience that they're trying to really focus on. In fact, Adam, who runs Instagram, said they are focused on creativity and connection. So original content with your voice, your thought, no longer like they do not want people just getting on Instagram and scrolling to consume. They want participation. They want interaction. They want shares. Believe it or not, more things get shared in the DMs than anything else. And so I think they're going to reward those who show more of those activities. So not only creating valuable content to keep people on the platform, but are you executing the engagement strategy of your battle plans, which is this part at the very top that you should be checking off. If you actually printed these every Monday and did you do your 3 story posts? Did you follow 20 new accounts? Did you do the 20 post likes, your 20 post comments? If they are really focused on creativity and connection, then we've got to be focused on going deeper, like building communities with our platforms, not just a wide audience. It's no longer about the number of followers you have, which is why they've said kind of the death of the influencers. You used to have to pay an influencer who had all these followers, try to get visibility because they were the ones rewarded because they had a huge following. That's not the case anymore. They don't want the large following. In fact, they'd rather you go deeper with less. So we've got to spend time prospecting and connecting on our social CRMs. So number 1 was the fact checking. It's going to be less strict, more reliant on the community to report. Number 2 is the friends feed on the reels. Number 3, 3-minute reels. So they have doubled the length of time that you can create reels and post reels, which we know the short form videos are your best and highest use of time to get more reach with non-followers. So don't confuse that with, because some people have said, but we've always been able to post videos longer than 90 seconds. Yes, with the disclaimer in the sense that if they were longer than 90 seconds, it was made as a post that wasn't deemed as a reel, like pushed like a reel would be. If you remember in the old days, we used to have IGTV when you would go live, or the longer videos on Instagram. And so you didn't get the same push if your reels were longer than 90 seconds. So they are saying you can now go up to 3 minutes, but here's kind of a rule of thumb. Think of it as, let's see, unfortunately, this is where my brain goes, but let's say mini skirt or a nice dress. There's a way to be sexy and elegant without ganky and slutty. So how that relates to your content is when people ask, well, how long should a reel be? It needs to be short enough to get attention, to capture attention. So the mini skirt idea, you want to capture attention, but you don't want to show all the goods. So short enough to get attention, but long enough to cover the goods, to the point where you're not dragging things out. And again, it's about being a great communicator where you're breaking things down in an easy way that's easy to understand, that hits the show me that you know me button, but yet generalist enough to have a broad enough reach to get people to care about the post. Because make no mistake, the algorithms are interest-based graphs. And that is why really funny, comical memes always outperform a mortgage piece of content, because there's not enough pool of interest of people who are showing signs that they would care about that mortgage post. Now, that doesn't mean to switch the strategy, because sure, I could post a half naked pic and get 100,000 views, but are those the right views of what my end goal is? No, I don't need that attention from likely a bunch of dudes in other countries. Even though my vanity and my ego may like it, I would rather get 4 views on a mortgage related video because they're the right views. The algorithm doesn't punish you. It actually is your non-paid salesperson going out trying to find people who would be interested in your post based off your area, based off the, caption that you write and the keywords in the hook. And as long as it's super clear of who the audience is that you're trying to attract, it goes to work for you. but it's preying on people's behaviors when they are on the app. And for some, they go on the app to be entertained. They're escaping from their life. They're in a sales meeting and they're bored. And then sometimes they're using it for social proof and to micro learn and to actually, look to see who their best option is or what things they can learn so that when they do talk to a sales professional, they know whether or not to trust that person. So there's all different types of reasons of why people are on the platform and also meeting them with where they're at in the buyer journey. That's why all of this is part of the bigger strategy. So 3-minute reels, but still keep it short to the point. And I would still cross-pollinate and shoot people to your YouTube channel where they can watch a longer video that goes into more depth on the information in the shorter reel. The fourth update is the profile grid. And guys, this has really bothered some people. But the best piece of real estate is when you can be on this guy, right? We know this to be true because this is where people spend most of their time. So Adam, who runs Instagram, noticed that most of the content being uploaded to the app is always done in the vertical view. And so they were having to crop a lot of real estate from content if they were photos or carousel posts where, you weren't getting the full story length view of the image. And so they basically followed the TikTok landscape. And now you will see that the grid is no longer the perfect 1-to-1 square ratio. It is now the 4-to-5 or the rectangular grid. So again, I put a cheat sheet on Instagram. It was posted just a couple days ago. So go back to it. And I actually will show you where the safe zones are for when you're posting a reel or when you're posting a carousel post, and know that yes, your grid may look a little funky. For those of you who don't have the update yet, it's coming. So we're already making this shift on our end that all posts and all content will be the 4-to-5 ratio because that can cross post very easily on all platforms and it will fit appropriately per the rules and guidelines of Instagram, which Instagram is the most particular on just quality when you're uploading images since it was the OG of a photo sharing app. So say goodbye to your perfect grids that may be aesthetically beautiful and now they're all jacked up. And while you welcome that change, know and trust that it is what your audience wants is less perfection, less perfectly polished videos where you're always in front of a camera with perfect captions and perfect cover pages. Like, guys, hold your phone, hit record when you do your Monday time blocks. So all those video scripts that we send y'all, that the goal is to batch create on Mondays, it doesn't have to be then perfectly edited by either our team or, maybe you're paying for video editing. Be okay with it being imperfect because that's real, that's raw. It doesn't feel promotional. It's not over edited where it feels like you're trying really hard to keep my attention where now I'm questioning the message. Because if you're trying this hard with all these edits and like filters and distractions just because you're trying to keep my attention, I feel used almost. I feel like you're just using my attention. And nobody gets on social and is like, I can't wait to see an ad. I can't wait to be marketed to. Nobody. So if it feels like marketing, it's probably not going to be as successful unless it feels like you're informing. You're popping on because you genuinely just got off a phone with someone and you think this could be helpful for someone else who may be in the same situation as the person you were just speaking to. So also know, as like a little sidebar, this is like Deb's side conversation to you guys, you will see a decrease in the amount of likes, comments, and follows because we are seeing a decline in people actually following other people because the algorithms have gotten so good at when you go to your Explore feed, it is feeding you. It's feeding the addiction. It's like, oh, Deb likes this and Deb likes that. And so I want to keep you on the platform as long as possible. And so why do I need, if I see something I like, why do I need to hit follow? Yeah, I could, it used to be I would hit follow so that when I would get online, I would see more content like that because that's what I'm interested in. But now when I go to the Explore feed, it knows me so well, it's already showing me things that I would likely want to learn about. That's how I train the algorithms to show me what I want so I can micro learn. So we're seeing less people hit follow and they just go straight to Explore feed. Don't allow the follows and the vanity metrics to stress you out. If you're posting all reels, expect engagement to be down because it's going to more non-followers where you don't have trust. A lot of people aren't going to comment on someone's post that they don't know the person. It's top of funnel content. Be okay with that. Be okay with that space where you may not know the full impact of the content that you're making, but you're committed to the process because it makes you a better loan officer and it makes you a better communicator. And we know that your business grows to the extent that you do, and your personal brand grows to the extent of your personal character. So regardless, if you get direct revenue or not, it's making you better. So put the reps in and do more. All right, next one is highlights are moving. They're going to move highlights. So that's right under the bio. They're going to move highlights to its own tab in the grid. And they were saying because the number of new followers that would visit people's profiles, it was like less than 1% that were actually going into the highlights section. So to simplify the view and kind of that online business card or really website, I think this is the modern day website is Instagram. They're going to take that clutter out and they're going to move it to its own tab. So highlights are going to move. Next is they're going to let us reorder and customize our grid, our profile grid, even after things have been posted, which I really like. People have been asking for this, like, when are we ever going to be able to move things around so that, you know, like for example, with plug and play, sometimes when I look at my feed, I'm like, there's a lot with a black, like a solid black background. Maybe I should mix it up with more white than black, white than black. Or I like when we do the translucent black background, so it's not like a stark black. But sometimes when I go to my feed, and that's what most people do, is when they land on your profile and they scroll for a couple feet, they're looking at the overall view. And it's not a bad idea to kind of check that out every once in a while. That also just reminded me that any of your pinned feeds or pinned post at the top, which we should all have 3 pinned posts here, they may not fit. Like this one doesn't fit, darn it. So I really should unpin this or edit the cover so that it isn't cut off, because right now it's cut off. That's pretty cool that will be coming out where you can reorder and customize your profile grid. And then the last update, the final and 7th update, is Instagram has come out with their own new app, video editing app called Edits. Isn't that ironic that this comes out right when TikTok and CapCut gets banned? So CapCut is what a lot of us use for just easy on-the-go video edits. And now to compete with CapCut and TikTok, Instagram, which they said should roll out in March of this year, but it is called Edits. So be on the lookout for that, where you will be able to download it from the App Store. And then my final just conversation from me to you. There's been, and this is more for those who are heavy on TikTok, there's speculation that the distraction of all of this about TikTok getting banned, that some of it was obviously could have already been in the works. And so anytime you have to switch a server, for anyone who's been a part of that process, usually at a company, they would let everyone know with an email that, we're going to be switching servers. And so things are going to be down for the weekend. And when you come back Monday, everything will be up and running. So some believe that there was a purchase by possibly Meta, where Meta bought, and people inside the government knew that this was going to happen, which is why there was a lot of them investing in Meta. And so the ban where everything was kind of shut down for 12 hours and then turned back on was just the time that they needed to switch all the servers from ByteDance in China to Utah Meta. And so there are people who are going on to TikTok and blocking Facebook from their feed. There's concern that there's going to be that obviously the algorithm has changed, because the ByteDance or TikTok, they were not willing to sell the algorithm, which was like the most influential part of what made TikTok so appealing, was the algorithm. There are some frustrated that if this is true, where Meta has now bought TikTok, and that essentially it's not TikTok at all, it's just Meta with the cover of TikTok, again, because the app is owned by ByteDance, and there was an illusion created where we were made to believe that it was just the ban and things not being available, and that it's now back on, but it's not really TikTok. So is there going to be censorship? What's being controlled? all those kind of chirping of what I'm hearing from people behind the scenes who know a little bit more about this than I do. So stay tuned. I'll keep y'all posted on that, especially for a lot of you who are big on TikTok, especially going live on TikTok. I've seen huge success in people who go live and just basically do case studies or scenarios, especially with people who have credit concerns or need credit help, or first-time buyers wanting to know what their options are. Going live on TikTok, like, it has changed the game for shopping. And I'm guilty of this. Like, I have a higher chance of buying something on TikTok Shop when I see someone who's like me, who's trying something on, who's talking. In fact, this is TikTok and this is TikTok. Oh my gosh, I have a problem. But they try it on, they tell you if it's soft, they will tell you the negatives, the positives, like, does it cover the bottom? Does it not? Is it stretchy? Does it feel like, or how's the arm length? If you're shorter, you may want to order this size. And if I go to Amazon, then I just see reviews, and you don't know how many of those reviews are like paid reviews. And you don't get that full description. Like, you don't get someone trying it on and like telling you the good and bad with it. So live on TikTok, and I still think on Instagram, is essential to do like at least once or twice a month. It's not something you want to overdo, because people do get notified when you go live. And so if you go live every day, like those horrendous video challenges where people are like, it's day 17 of 30 of my live video challenge. And it's like, nobody cares that you're doing a live video challenge. What they care about is what you can bring to them. Like, don't take my attention for granted. It's expensive. And I'm going to be upset if you waste it, because I could have seen something else that was more valuable. So consider going live. And then the last, I know I said this wasn't going to be the last thing, but now the real last thing is just from a calendar standpoint, a reminder that next week we have Chinese New Year. It is the year of the snake. I don't really love the snake aspect because it can be viewed as a negative. So I'm saying it's like the Mamba black snake, Mamba mentality, Mamba year. And then also on February 2nd, which is Sunday, is Super Bowl Sunday. So it comes really quick. I know for some of our subscription clients, we have some Super Bowl post kind of themed that we are sending out to you all. One of them being an interactive post of guessing what color Gatorade is going to be dumped on the coach, whoever wins. I won't tell y'all the one that's the most frequent color, but I was really surprised with the college national championship that it was green. I don't know when the last time it's ever been green, but the Ohio coach got drenched in green Gatorade. So that's kind of a fun, it doesn't matter if you watch football or not, or maybe you just watch for the commercials or the halftime show, but it's an easy to answer question that's, interactive, and you could even do like a giveaway or a free gift card, but it is on Sunday, and it's to guess what color Gatorade. You could also say you're the lender that tackles their home buying needs, or, do a play on words that way, but it comes a little bit faster than usual. And also start thinking ahead of Valentine's Day, which we talked about in the last video, making sure you get those reservations set and help your friends out who may have forgotten to set reservations. But that comes obviously on the 14th, which is a Friday this year. So you have, let's see, 3 more weeks until Valentine's Day. And then that Monday is President's Day. I'm also curious how many people know that it's George Washington's birthday, or it's called George Washington's birthday day. So do people call it President's Day or Washington Day? I don't know. You guys help me out. That is it for the updates. I know that was a lot. This is very long. If you have watched all the way to the end, then respond to this and tell me what color Gatorade you think that it will be on Super Bowl Sunday. That will be how I know if you guys actually watched this or not. Again, if you're seeing this on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with people that you love and who would care about knowing of these Instagram updates or are in business and could benefit from it. And as always, have a great weekend. Take care.